Do you get tired at night, or in the morning, or even during the day? Does the term unchecked dilly-dally give you more panoramic dreams than what is justified? We may call it the long road if you wish, or we can give it the same name as your very first goldfish. I see you, Mr. Bubbles, and I could have been better. I think we all could be better. You have been a lovely audience, and welcome to a very special episode of The Social Distance. Okay, where's my hat? Who's got my hat? Hello, and welcome to the podcast. It is May 1st, and I am your host, Izz. I hope you listeners are keeping lucid and keeping safe. Today we do have a long day ahead of us, so I'm just going to jump right into it. First of all, if you didn't listen to yesterday's episode, well, you should. It was a party, but don't worry, you do have time to catch up. One important thing that I did mention was that starting next week, I will only be releasing one episode a week. But I will be working on a music program for our radio station on the TuneIn app. So if you want to stay involved with that, please download it and search for Griffin Radio and follow us there and on social media. I am also changing the name of this podcast starting next week. And if you want to know the new name, well, you do have to listen to yesterday's episode because my delivery was pretty solid. Or you can just wait till next week. It's still going to be the same show. So on the last day of having this specific name, we will be going out with a celebration, a big one. Today, my guest is a longtime friend. He not only is one of my best friends, but he is also one of the most talented and free-spirited individuals that I have ever had the privilege to meet, let alone become friends with. His name is Andrew, and this man has a soul that is so vibrant and so creative that you can see it from a planet away. One episode will never be enough time with Andrew, but we will try to make sure that this one is still jam-packed. Like seriously, we're going to play lots of awesome songs from different musical projects that my guest has either been involved with or influenced by. This episode will feature bands and references from my hometown's music scene, a subject that I think is so fascinating, so complex, so simple, and just so accepting all at once. I love the music scene in my hometown. I think it has character, I think it has characters, and today we will get to meet some of those characters. There will be all kinds of genres of music, punk, alternative, hip-hop, some rowdier than others, but don't worry, I have made the proper edits, and please, hang out with Andrew and I as we go on a journey filled with such a variety of topics and sounds. This is half interview, half music listening to, and 100% hanging out. If I didn't make it clear, this guy is one of my favorite people, and I apologize if I talk just a bit too much. But I was just excited. I felt like we were hanging out for reals, searching through old cassettes that we found in the garage and started playing them on a tape player that only exists in the metaphorical sense. Okay, let's get to it. We got lots to cover, and I can talk to and about this guy until the end of the world, which is a perfect segue into the first song that we will be showcasing. This first song is called The End of the World, and it is by The Flu, a music group with no labels. This is Andrew and the band that he jams with and produces. That's pretty cool, right? Also, I won't see you after the interview. I already hog up so much of your time today. So, I'll see you guys next week after this thing is done. Enjoy!
Sit with you, hold my hand.
Alrighty. Hello, you guys, and welcome to The Social Distance. I have here a great friend of mine, Andrew. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty all right. How are you?
Dude, I'm doing well. Like I was explaining to you earlier, I've just been doing a lot of recording, a lot of editing, and it has been a little frustrating because it seems to be helicopter season outside of my house,
Yeah,
and it's kind of hard to record when you got a helicopter above above your head. But anyways, dude, I'm glad to have you on here, man. I feel like we have mentioned you a couple times on here for sure.
dude, thank you. Yeah, I've listened to some of those episodes that you've had in your drive file. Heard my name mentioned a few times, and it was endearing. It was really heartwarming. I was like, oh wow, like you guys have brought me up, and like I've always wanted to talk to you on a platform like this. So this is exciting for me
This
too.
is exciting, man. I mean, I've given some backstory to the listeners, but yeah, you and I feel like we have these every time we hang out, but now we get to record it. So
Yeah,
that's exciting. Anyways, man, I just want to start off by asking you how you been during this COVID-19 kind of vibe that's been going on.
I've been okay. I'm starting to miss like deeply miss going outside even to like Walmart normally because we've been going like grocery shopping when we really have to and we'll go to Walmart, but you know, we put on face masks and walk around with gloves and look like hazmat professionals or something. Other than that, I've been okay. I've been cooking a lot. I've been making a lot of music. I've been focusing a lot on my schoolwork. I'm about to finish school, so that was taking up a lot of like my attention. You know, I've been staying busy, but I'm starting to miss like the simple things of going to the outside world.
You say you're going to finish school? What are you going to school for again?
Finishing up my first semester back for engineering. I'm at ASU for mechanical systems engineering.
That is awesome, man. And you did mention music. We're going to get into that a little later, so I'm not going to touch on it too much. And you said you're cooking? Any specialty dishes?
Not yet. We try to like I don't know, find new stuff all the time. So like this past week, I made pizza. We made dough like from scratch. I really like making stuff from scratch. So we made the pizza dough in the morning. I let it sit all day, and then about an hour before I cooked it, I made the pizza sauce from like tomatoes, and I just like cooked everything up in a pot, blended it. Yeah, that was I don't know. I love making pizza, so that was really fun to make. Other than that, what else have I made recently that was really cool? Fried rice. I really like making fried rice. I've made that like two or three times. I don't know. I just love the smell of it, adding all the different smells and textures. It's really great. So definitely fried rice and pizza have been two that I've really enjoyed making.
I have you on social media and I see some of your stories and the food that you post, man. And it's not fair if you're not gonna share. That it's pretty nuts, dude. It's super tasty
Dude,
looking.
I really wish I could share, dude. I really like I miss that aspect of cooking too. Oh, like sharing it with my family here in at my girlfriend's home. Like I love that too. Like that's a great part of cooking. But I miss sharing it with friends and people coming over and stuff. So yeah, that's another thing to add to the COVID.
Yeah, I agree, man. I miss having a beer and having a hamburger with the homies at the house or something like that. But
Yeah,
it's temporary and it's for the good. I'm
yeah,
assuming.
for sure.
It is pretty creepy though to go outside and see everyone all masked up. It's
Yeah,
it's a little eerie.
yeah,
It's
right, right, right. Like I don't know. It feels to me like it's a scene from 28 Days Later all the time or something.
Andrew, I literally just talked about that movie in the last episode. That
Oh,
hasn't
really?
even come out yet, so that's really cool, dude. I'm so excited. Again, let me just reiterate, I'm so excited to have you here. I always felt like we shared the same mind or something, so that's really cool. Example already, example A. Glad to have you here, man. So cool. Let's talk about your music, because
Cool.
that's some cool stuff. I did just play before we started this the song "The End of the World." So let's start there. Tell me about that, man.
I'm a huge fan of like pop music and like the very cutesy ukulele type pop. You know, I ended up using like a ukulele as the main instrument on that song. So one day I was just sitting in my room and we like to do these writing sessions with the flute. So it's me, Ian, and Marissa. Ian is my girlfriend, Marissa's younger brother, and all three of us are the Flu. And we'll sit together and just like throw ideas out there. So I was playing ukulele, I was recording it. I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. I had come up with the hook like the world's ending and I don't care, and that's all we had, and we were just kind of singing that over and over again. We had come up with something. I had recorded the bass line. I was working on the drums, and my girlfriend Marissa, she was just like, "Why don't you try this?" And like proceeded to just give me all the like best lyrics in that moment. And we were just like, "What? Like this is incredible!" And I was just like, "Get to the mic right now. We need to like get this down as an idea." So yeah, dude, it was one of those. I feel like I reached my antennas out into the sky. I try not to think about it too much. I was just playing ukulele and something beautiful came from it. So
That's
yeah, thank you.
amazing, man.
Yeah, I love that song.
That's a good story to hear. You had mentioned the Flu, so that's the music group, right? It's you and
Yes.
your girlfriend and her sibling. That was
Yeah.
that started during the quarantine? No, right? You guys started.
No, no, yeah. We've been at this for a while. So the flu was a joke between me and Ian for like the longest time. I don't know how long this joke has been around anymore. It was like 4 or 5 years ago. We were joking around. Ian had taken a photo of a bird and he put the word friend on it, and he was just like, I want this to be an album cover or something. And I was just like, oh dude, that looks really cool. We do this thing where we'd see stuff where we'd take a picture and we'd be like, I'm cover like number 3, and we'd say something funny and we'd be like, oh, okay, that's gonna be the album title. And then we were just like, all right, what are we called? And I think it was me, and I was like, the flu. And they were just like, why? And I was like, because we're sick. And again, it was just a running joke. Ian and I would be like, that's gonna be the flu's like 11th album. Like I finally had moved over to Phoenix with them and their family. One day I was just messing around with some old music that I had that I'd always wanted to use, but I don't like writing lyrics. And Ian likes writing. Ian is like, he wants to go into screenwriting and he likes poetry and stuff. So I was just like, all right, Ian, I need your voice, man. And and he's got a wicked set of pipes. He came up with some cool stuff. So I was like, all right, the flu's coming to life. My girlfriend was always like with us from the beginning. Like, she was part of the joke too. And then we were just like, dude, you're part of it anyway. You're like telling us if the song's good or bad. You're co-producing. So we're just like, all right, we are the flu.
Okay, let's play a song now. We talked for a good
For
minute. We're gonna
sure.
play a song. This song, Big Boy. That's the Flu, right?
Yeah.
I love this jam. I just want to tell you that it makes me feel it's fun. It's free. I can't even imagine what you guys were thinking when you were writing it, but I just hear a good time. Tell us about that track, man.
Oh, okay. So Big Boy. Oh man, that I feel like Big Boy is the epitome. It's like the essence of what the flu is, which is just like random silliness, like whatever you stretch your mind tentacles out to and you're just like picking up. That was one of those days. Ian and I, we were in my bedroom and I was just like, all right, we need to come up with something. So I sat at my desk. I just made like a really random poppy drum loop and I was just like, all right, I don't know what to do over this. And I grabbed my bass, came up with some like ridiculous stuff. And then I was just like, okay, Ian, it's your time. Like, you need to do something weird over this. I don't know what you could do, but like, just whatever. And so he just started doing this weird Talking Heads, David Byrne. Like, I don't even know what it was. And it was like glorious because I thought the instrumental sounded so ridiculous, but Ian's vocals over it, chef's kiss, like it was beautiful. I don't know. It was a lightning in the bottle moment for sure.
It's fantastic, and it's so cool that you mentioned the Talking Heads because when you showed this song to me for the first time, I was going through, and I still am. I love the Talking Heads, but I was going through a real big Talking Heads phase, and then you just text me this, and I was blown away. It is absolutely Talking Head vibes. All right, dude, we're gonna go ahead and play it.
Awesome.
Let's check it out.
I speak nonsense, nothing more. I think you're great, nothing by me. I see green skies, fine
Alrighty, man. Yeah, that was pretty groovy. So you said that was you on bass, right?
Yeah. I programmed the drums. I made like the instrumentation basically, but yeah, I wrote the bass line.
That's cool. You play bass a lot, Andrew? Are you a bass
Yeah.
player?
Yes, sir. Yes, I definitely consider that like home base for instruments.
Nice. Were you in any other bands other than the Flu?
Yeah, I've been in a few. I don't. I hope I remember all of them, but dang, dude, there was like some early proto bands that I was in. One of them, I do you remember Just Kittens?
I re- that is a name,
Dude, that was
Andrew, I haven't heard in so long.
dude. I think about that all the time, dude.
I
That was
don't.
like
Oh
that
my
was my
god.
first band. That was my first band, technically.
So I do want a backstory. Just Kittens is an acoustic group, an acoustic cover band with Andrew and myself and our buddy Jerry, who actually I have talked as well about in this podcast, and our buddy Stacy, and we just did a bunch of acoustic covers. Man, that's so cool. I'm so glad you
Yeah,
mentioned that. That was a
dude.
one-time
Yeah.
performance, right? Too.
Yeah, that was a one-time performance, but we practiced like a few times together. Like that was really awesome. And
Yeah, I probably
that
shouldn't have
was like
gotten
a
that.
blueprint, dude.
I shouldn't have gotten that tattoo if we were only going to play once.
Did you get one?
Did you not?
Oh,
What other
uh,
bands, man?
okay, so other bands there was Dos Gulps. That was something I played in with Alexi and Marcos. That was really cool. We were like a weird Simply Damn Delicious ripoff band, but like with metal influence, I guess, or like more aggressive music type. A pop punk band named Joy, and then like a post pop punk band named Juliet. Yeah, those are the ones that I remember. Oh no, and then there was a band that I fronted with my really good friend Joseph, and we were called Sad Boys Club, and we released like 3 EPs. That was cool. I forgot about that.
Dude, there's a lot to unbox there.
Yeah,
Sad Boys Club. What? Tell me a little bit about that project.
we joked about being in a band in high school, dude. Like when we first became friends, like we'd joke around about being in a band together, and we were like freshmen, and like I didn't even play guitar. I think he played a little bit, but lo and behold, like we graduate, and then like in college is when we start doing Sad Boys Club. So he'd like send me music all the time. I'd check it out, and then I started like assisting him with like recording and like playing live sets. And then I just started bringing songs. He was just like, dude, you can like play songs too if you want, like if you have any. And so I started writing a few, and we'd touch on a lot of really sad topics because we were like both going through some like bad stuff, and so that was like an outlet for a lot of like sad emotions. So we were pretty on the sleeve with Sad Boys Club.
And what about Dole Sculpts? Now, I
Oh,
plan on playing a little bit of a song from Dole Sculpts. I think that group is so funky. I wish I had the chance to see you guys live. I want to hear a little bit about that because that's a part of your life that I was like I think I was in Sacramento during that time or
yeah.
something.
Dos Scopes was me, Alexi, Marcos, Casas. I don't remember if it was Ikawat or Casas. They're both his last name, but I think he goes by Casas. Anyway, so it was the three of us, and we we all had really weird approaches to our instruments. I believe, like we were all really super open to experimentation and just being like, Alexi is a machine. Like the dude is a robot. He's an organic drum machine. incredible, and he's always playing the weirdest grooves like in his off time. So that's kind of where our band started. Is like he was playing some weird rhythms, and then like I'd play to them, and then he was just like, "Dang, dude, like that sounds so good. I didn't think anyone could play to that." I was just like, okay, well, like let's just kind of base it off of that. And then Marcos, I don't know, the dude was like a wizard with his guitar and his pedals. So he'd like be playing some really funky stuff and then just go into like noise, you know? He'd just go into a noise set on his guitar, and it was incredible.
I too actually described Alexi as a robot. Alexi is the drummer of my band, my old band as well, Simply Damn Delicious. And I said the same thing. This guy is a machine. You type in the coordinates and he gets there.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, we're gonna play the song called "Press A to Jump."
Heck yeah.
What was that one about? I'm so excited to play it. It sounds like I'm in a video game, and I
Yes,
think
incredible. Yes, that was exactly the intention. It was to feel like you're in a video game. Alexi used to live with one of his uncles for a while that had like a wide open space for jamming, and like that was their thing. They loved to like make music. And that's kind of where Dose Sculpts had really started. We were all hanging out, and I was just like, you guys, I feel like creatively tapped. Like I don't even know how to write a bass line right now. Like what, I don't know, you'll come up with something. So I forgot we were watching or playing, but I like came up with the bass line, right? And then like he was like, keep playing that, keep playing that, keep playing that. I kept playing it, and he jumped on the drums. He came up with like his thing, his insane whatever the heck he's doing on drums. And then Marcos was just like, all right, we're doing this. So he started like making that counter melody, stuff like that. It was just another like lightning in the bottle, like that's what music is really about. Like the standout music, I think, is the stuff that comes from the moment where they're like, keep playing that, I need to jump on the drums. It wasn't for a few weeks that we came up with lyrics, I guess, until we finally recorded it at Alexi's house. And we never knew what to do with lyrics because we were all like nerdy dudes, and like I don't know. We didn't know how to write about much. I don't know how we came up with it, but we were like, this sounds like what are they called in video games? Is there like when you're getting a tutorial? Oh,
tutorial. Yeah.
There you go. It sounded like a tutorial, like music for Banjo and Kazooie or something. So we were like, oh, press A to jump. So we came up with the lyrics, and we were like crying with laughter because it was just pure, just being ridiculous. And we recorded them, and it just came together beautifully. And I remember sending it to you, dude, and like I was so excited to show you. We were all super excited to show you and like the rest of the members of Simply Damn.
Yeah, I was blown away. I remember thinking, I, I wish I can join their band. I really was. All right, man. Well, let's take a listen to it. Let's take a quick listen to this song.
As he looked up, he saw that he could not reach what was right above him, and he didn't know what to do. But a voice from the heavens came down and told him, "Press A to jump! Press A to jump! Press A to jump! Press A to jump! Press A to jump! Just do it! 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 Press A to jump!
The only reason that you're alive right now is because Morgan Freeman is narrating your life, as he does for billions and billions of others.
Alrighty, so that song you performed bass in, and it was great, by the way. You also dabble in production, correct?
For sure, yeah. I definitely, yeah, it's become one of my focal points with like music.
How'd you get into that, man?
That's a really good question, actually. Like, I can't really remember when. I guess I'd always wanted to be able to listen to people like play their instruments. Like I'd always wanted to listen to people be good at their instruments, like alone almost, and that's what a producer does. It definitely stems from like the local music scene and just listening to bad garage demos of someone leaving their iPod on the other side of the garage and like playing a full set and just thinking like, wow, I wish I could hear what they're saying. Like I really wish I could hear everything sound really good. I eventually bought like an interface and I didn't learn to use it for like a year or two. Like I'd try and I'd be like, yo, this DAW looks crazy. Like I don't know what anything does. But eventually I just got into it through beat making especially. And well, like through recording bands. I really wanted to record bands and like put together EPs and demos for people, like whether it be bands I was in or like bands that I really liked. I don't remember how long ago it started, but I know for sure like you were an inspiration in that too. When you started making music, I was like, yo, I need to get in on that.
Dude, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, it sounds, just from the work you've done, man, it sounds like you've been at it for a long time. I really enjoy listening to the stuff you made.
Thank you.
So how did that start? Did you record a band first, or did you record yourself first?
For sure. I think it started with like little stuff for me, but just like learning how to record audio through like an interface with a microphone, stuff like that. And then I started doing a lot of I'm putting quote unquote production work with Sad Boys Club. It was just me and Joseph using like GarageBand on his brother's MacBook. And like neither of us really knew how to use it. So it was a lot of like experimentation with like equalizers and just being like, oh, what does this sound like? Like, moving dials back and forth. So like I really started there and like learning what equalization was, learning what compression was. And then I think one of my first projects that I was like, okay, like I'm gonna record this band and we're gonna do it. It was Caps, but they had a side project and they still do it now. But like this was before they even started playing shows. But they were SPAC, and it was like three of them, and they like were into hardcore music. So that was my first project that I was like, okay, I'm gonna record a band's EP.
I'm gonna play a little bit of SPAC right here. I can't.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna play a lot of it too loud, but
yeah,
because they're a little wild, a little crazy. I don't want to scare anybody,
yeah,
but there definitely is some high energy when you listen to SPAC.
yeah.
How was that process?
So so it was like in the middle of recording their like main band at the time. They went by Caps, like it was a night and day thing, a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Like they had two personalities. Like one was Caps, which was like poppy garage pop punk, it was really cool, it was really interesting. And then they had SPAC, which was kind of like this what's the word I'm looking for? Like unkept, like just depraved like monster lurking under their beds. And I was the first one outside of their band to like listen to it, I think, and I was just like, yo, I'd love to record this as a demo, because like they didn't really care about it that much. And like I was just like, I want to make this sound cool, because like I also had a love for like hardcore punk stuff like that. So they were the first like outside band that I was like, hey, could I work with you guys? And they were super happy to. And we were working on their Caps project too, and that's really fun too. But that's like it took us a little longer to finish that. But yeah.
Yeah, let's play some Caps as well. I have here the song "Fortune Cookie,"
Yeah.
and it's pretty groovy. How was the recording process for that? I mean, you said these gentlemen were the same people, right, for the most part? Or?
Yeah. Yeah, for the most part. I think it was like one member difference, that like one of them didn't have too much interest in like playing in a hardcore band like that. Um, so like he just like go back inside the house or something while we were recording. But it was just like one session.
They were the
But
same people, but different
yeah,
types of music. Did
yeah.
that present like a different problem, even though you were dealing with the same people?
No. Well, yeah, we'd run into some like issues here and there in their recording processes in general. It's a lot of like lack of practice, I guess. I know they're like they would agree with me, I guess, because like it was very much we were both new to it, and I didn't know to like make that clear to them at all. Like it was my first project, so I was just kind of like, yeah, I guess it's fine that like they haven't practiced. I guess like I don't know what I'm doing.
Sounds the same, but I'm gonna say it again, and I'm hoping that I get my
There wasn't too much of the difference between them. Like it more came in like mixing, I guess.
Yeah, it was both kind of like your guys' first experience within this
Yeah.
realm of
Yeah.
nice. And then you went on to do some work with Juliet. Dude, let me hear
Yeah.
about that. That's another band that I believe I was miles away when you were involved with, but I was listening to everything you were doing and I could not believe it. It was so good. Tell me about that, man.
For sure. My friend Jared Wise, he's a super talented songwriter. Like the dude can come up with some really like fun poppy rock. Like I don't know, I'm in awe at his ability to like write a catchy song. He invited me on board, and it was funny because a band we were in before that, he invited me in the same way. He'll just be like, "Hey, do you want to come over and like help me jam some songs out?" And I was like, "Yeah, for sure. Like I'm always down to hear whatever you're coming up with." So we did, and he's just like, "All right, we have a show like next week. Would you be down to play, dude?"
Oh,
Like,
man.
and I was just like, "Yeah, for sure. Like I'm super down." And that's how Juliet started. Basically, he was a songwriting machine, and he was going through like a Weezer phase, or like a lot of 90s alt rock. So he like does a really good homage to it. Like I don't know, a lot of those Juliet songs felt really like 90s inspired to me.
When I first heard it, I was actually hanging out with my roommate Arturo. We were listening to it. It sounds like The Cure. It definitely
Yeah,
it
right.
sounds like The Cure, a little bit more rock and rolly, but I definitely can see those 90 vibes popping out there.
Dude, it's funny that you say that really quick, but Jared, he's a huge fan of The Cure. So like around that time, like he was listening to a lot of The Cure. So like it makes a lot of sense too, and I see it too. Like it's in that DNA of his songwriting that you're just like, what? What is this? Why is this so catchy? But like it's so rock oriented. Like I don't know, but he's really good at that. So I thought that was funny.
Yeah, to me, that's like one of the classic definitions of creativity is getting information from the outside and then filtering it through your own mind and making something out of that. We're gonna play some a song from Juliet. The song is called Hometown.
So that one I love the guitar at the beginning. It's super like ethereal, I guess. I don't know. It's super spacey and nice, but I don't know. Jared does a really good job at like putting songs together. Like we jam that song a lot, and he was just like, okay, this is what it's gonna sound like today. And I think in that song I use like bass chords too. You'll hear in certain parts because it used to just be a 3-piece. So in certain parts, Jared would like to solo, so I'd like just play bass chords and kind of play the role of like a rhythm guitar and a bass guitar. But I think it's really intense song, and there's a music video you could find somewhere on the internet.
Well, that's cool. So let's play that right now. And if you like the song, check out the video on YouTube. So, Andrew, you also did some work under the name Acid Murphy. Can you tell me about that one, man?
Yeah, so I don't know. I guess I just plan on using that as like my pseudonym in music. I think it sounds cool. But yeah, I like using that as like the beat maker, name. I guess I'll just throw that on whatever I like to touch in music, like production work or whatever. That's the pseudonym I've chosen.
Tell me about that project. That's more like beat focused, more just trippy hip hop kind of sound, which is cool because all this music that we have been playing, you have had a hand in all the songs that we've played so far. And now, we're going to touch and maybe play a different type of genre, but it's still you. Tell me
Yeah.
about just the difference and what makes this project, different from those other ones. There's obvious things, but I would like to hear it from you.
Yeah, for sure. So Acid Murphy is just like, I guess, like I take it as like a mask almost, like I don't know, kind of like MF Doom. Because I try to like make stuff that's kind of weird sometimes, or not all the way. I'm a big fan of like colors and stuff, and like acid, the drug, has always been associated with that stuff. And I'm a big fan of this band called LCD Sound System. I think you put me onto them a long time ago, actually, Israel.
Yeah,
And
that
yeah,
is still my ringtone.
yeah,
Yeah, if my phone were to ring right now, that song would play on this podcast.
dude, oh wow, yeah, exactly. They're a great band, and the lead dude's name is James Murphy. So I like the Murphy I'm thinking of is James Murphy, but I just slapped acid in front of it, and it's Acid Murphy just sounds really cool to me. And then my girlfriend drew like a really cool logo for me too. So like I just like adopted it because I just love the ideas that I can run with it because I also do a lot of like Photoshop edits with a lot of like weird colors on them and stuff that I also like to use as like single art or album art and stuff like that. So I think it's a good name to use because I try to like use a lot of colors.
You not involved, it's boss now. I've been the boss. Young sage raised by the cloth. Breaking curses and writing verses. I'm versatile in my craft. Roaming around for the end of days when God releases her wrath. Arming up for Armageddon. Tell me all you sure about where you headed.
This project of yours, it has led you to collaboration, right?
Yeah, quite a few times.
Tell me about that, man.
Count your blessings, come at the king and you best not miss. Fresh to death, I'm pushing daisies, pen sick, it caught rabies, raising hell like that's my son. Anakin, I'm the chosen one.
Sure. So I love the internet. I'm a big fan of the internet, and a few friends that I just like met in passing or just even on the internet. I'll send them just beat packs and be like, hey, dude, like I think you'd sound sick over stuff like this. I'm gonna make some more like in your like wheelhouse. So I'll like tailor some beats towards them and send them over to them. And they'll like rap over them and send them back to me. And it's usually like it's pretty simple. And like I try to work with people who like are open to collaborating and also are fans of me as I'm fans of them or something. Like I'm a really big fan of people that like respond because like I really love reaching out to people that also make music that I know, and I'm just like, dude, I love your music. Like, this is great. So I just like getting in touch with people that way too, and collaborating is like a great way to make friends too.
What problems do you run into a project like that has to do with collaboration with people that you don't even see in person?
No, when I make beats, I feel a little differently about them because if it was like a band, I can make like a handful of beats in a day or something, but like writing songs with a band is a little more difficult. But like because I can churn out beats, a lot of them at once, it's easier for me to like share music with rappers. So I don't get too attached to my beats. So it's not too much of a problem. And like one or two occasions, I'll be like, hey, just tone back the language because I'm not super cool and people like will rap about women in like super degrading ways or degrading ways in general. Like I'm not super cool with that. I've like made some project like just some freestyle projects with some friends and like I'll send it back to them but with like half of their lyrics cut out and they're like, hey, what'd you do with that? I'm just like, I didn't want you sounding like that over my songs. So that's really the only like It's really the only issue I've ever run into is just kind of like lyrical content.
That's interesting, man. Actually, I'm sure that's something that happens to a lot of producers. Just that sentence you said, hey, I just kind of don't want that on my song, man.
Yeah, it can be awkward because like I don't know, there's a lot of songs that like do just kind of like use that language willy nilly, but like I'm not a big fan of it, so like I don't really want it associated with like my beats or anything.
That's good, man. That's good to be sure of how you want your music to sound.
Thank you. Yeah.
I have mentioned before this interview that you and I are from the same hometown. You are now living in Phoenix?
Yeah. Yeah. Phoenix, Arizona.
How was that the change? The change of environment. Just explain that to me.
It was pretty all right. So I was living in San Diego for a bit, and I just didn't like paying. The cost of living over there was kind of high. I didn't really want to live at home again, but more so for just like not wanting to live at home with your parents, kind of thing. And so I moved over here to Phoenix with my girlfriend and her family, and it's been like a really nice move. I feel like um, being super far away from our friends, like it sucks, but like that was the pain my girlfriend felt like long before I got here. So now I just like feel it with her. So it sucks being like super far from her friends, but it's pretty nice. I like Phoenix. I think Phoenix is a cool city.
Well, it seems like you are adjusting well.
Yeah.
So, Andrew and I were always back in our hometown, back in our high school days, and a little bit after, we were always around the same shows, around the same people, around the same music scene. And I have talked about the music scene. I've actually said that I would love to make a whole podcast about the El Centro music scene because I think is just so interesting. I would like to hear how that influenced you. I know that itself influenced me, and I'm positive that it had some sort of influence on you.
Dude, for sure. So like I think it fell in line with like what I was kind of saying earlier about like production and wanting to hear bands like better recorded because we'd go to all these shows and all these bands sounded so sick, like they sounded so great that like I wanted to hear it the way I heard whatever I was playing on Spotify or whatever. So I think the Imperial Valley music scene was super influential in my work just from being able to hear like really great music from people that you knew, like it seems impossible to write a song like, but if you know people that are doing it, you're more prone to being like, well, okay, maybe I can too. And the threshold to go into the scene was very welcoming, for the most part. People were always welcoming to new bands, so it was great. It was just a lot of people having a good time and sharing music.
What were some of your first like experiences that really stood out to you?
Oh man, I think my first show was going to watch your band Autumn Bomb at like a Bubba Fest in who knows when, 2011 or something, whenever we first met. But I remember going to watch the band Autumn Bomb, and I can't remember the people that preceded you, but it was at a place called the Venue, and it was like on the corner of something in Maine, on Main Street. And I thought it was like the weirdest thing because it started a little earlier in the day, so it was kind of musty, and there was a lot of like punks sweating it out outside. And I wasn't used to that at all, and it was just really strange to me. But I thought it was so cool when you guys got up and I saw you playing bass. I was like, yo, this is sick. This is really incredible.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, it is an interesting scene. Sometimes when I would invite friends over to go see some of my shows, or just any show
Yeah.
in the valley who haven't really been exposed to a bunch of sweaty punks, waiting it out.
Yeah.
It definitely can be a little intimidating, but it's such a friendly scene. Even when there's people mosh pitting, I see people helping them out, asking if they're okay, and then going back to dancing.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Any bands that stood out to you? I mean, you had mentioned you saw me play, but I mean, just in the scene in general, any bands that stood out to you?
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't know, there's a lot of really dedicated people and like a lot of influential bands and like off top of the head, your project Simply Damn Delicious with Alexi and Ian and Alfredo, right? Oh, yeah, it's not.
Alfredo.
Yeah, Alfredo. Yeah, I almost said Arturo, but no, I was like, no, that was Alfredo. But Simply Damn Delicious for sure. Great Days. Subject 16. They were really cool. Um, Dang, who else? There was Auto Asphyxia. They were really like grindcore punk. I don't know. Yeah, those are the bands that kind of stick out to me when I was like first going to shows, and then like later, I guess more current bands like Caps and Spac and what else? Oh yeah, like Hell's Army, stuff like that. Those are really cool.
I have actually also talked about Great Days on here,
Yeah.
and those concerts were wild.
Yes. Yeah, they were.
Yeah, I remember like
Yeah.
people hanging off of the ceiling.
Yeah.
Were you there?
Yeah.
That was a thing,
Yeah, I
right?
think
Or
that
what?
was at like that was on David. That was like at David at on like Ice, right? Or David on Twice. It was one of those.
It probably was both. And you know, it's also funny. Danny mentioned the same shows: David on Ice, David on Twice.
They're iconic, dude. They were like iconic.
They
They were
really were. They
legendary.
were. That's where.
Yeah,
That's where I caught some of my
dude,
favorite
you're
bands
talking
for sure.
exactly what you're talking about. People hanging off the ceiling rafters thing. Yeah, exactly like that. That's all you have to know.
The hanging from the ceiling. That was when Great Days was playing. And
Yeah,
I did want to share some Great Days on here because they're big heroes of mine, and I know they're big heroes of yours.
for
So
sure.
yeah, we're gonna play a quick song of theirs, just a little bit because I can't play all of it. But they have a song called Heaven, and that song to me is such a spectacular one. And I think you and I have mosh pitted together to this song.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's play a little bit of that song right now. Alrighty, so yeah, that is the infamous Great Days. And the bassist, that guy, Abraham, we call him Boyo, he's amazing.
Yeah, just like person, musician, just spirit, soul, like just a good guy. Always pleasant. It was really funny. A few weeks ago here in Phoenix, apparently he has a sister that lives over here. I ran into him at a record shop, and it was like completely random. I never expect to see anyone who lives like in the Imperial Valley here in Phoenix. So it was completely out of the blue, and we talked for like 15 minutes. It was super cool.
Wait, no way. You
Dude, yes.
just out of nowhere
Out of nowhere. Out of nowhere.
in
I was
Phoenix
just
and out because he lives in San Diego,
yeah, yeah.
and you guys didn't even plan it. You guys were just at the
No,
same record
I don't
store.
know. Yeah, dude. And I was like, where else would I run into this dude other than a record store? Like this dude's got impeccable taste in music. He was probably just gonna go browse, and I ran into him, and it was like it was one of those shocking moments. Like he walked in, I looked over, and I was like, Abraham, and he looked over, and he was just like, dude, what the heck?
I
And
can't
yeah,
believe that.
yeah, I couldn't believe it either. And he was just like, dude, what are you doing out here? And I was like, I live out here, dude. And he was just like, oh, what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he has such a good spirit, so I could
Yes.
imagine like all those serendipitous things happening to him because
Yeah.
he just puts out really good vibes. And I remember he came out with like a little album, a little EP himself, and then you learned some of those songs, right?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah, that was incredible, man. Tell me, I mean, how did that have an influence on you?
Okay, so I feel like he's part of this lineage that I have in my head of like the bassists of like the bands in the Imperial Valley. So he's kind of like he's the forefather, and then you're kind of like I don't know, an offshoot of it. Like you were like a son, like you were a son. I think of it like when we were in high school and he was in the jazz band, and then you were in the jazz band, and then I was in the jazz band. Like it was, that lineage of bass players that played in the jazz ensemble at Central. And yeah, no, I just, I hold him to high esteem. And that EP that he released, I just thought it was so wonderful. It was so short, but it was so intimate. And it reminded me that music doesn't have to sound like it was on the radio. Like it really proved that for me, and like made me admire like rough recordings of songs like that just sound like they were recorded on an iPhone. But his lyrics were just really touching, and I think the medium made it even more touching. Like it just sounded like he was singing right next to you. So like he did a cover of the song 80-Foot Ladders by Great Days on that, and that influenced me so much. Like just the chords he uses in that song, like they're so simple but so like effective and beautiful. And well, I don't remember all that. Oh, there was another song called Painted Green. Like that one's beautiful as well. Like I know I'd listened to that album a lot driving home at night. So it definitely had a huge impact on me. So shout out to Abraham.
Yeah, for reals. Big shout out to that guy. I agree with you. It's funny how you said about, it made you realize that music doesn't have to sound a certain way. I think I got the same vibe from that as well. As someone who produces, there are a lot of instances where I don't understand why a song is not sounding the way it should. I mean, all the aspects are there. It hits me right in the face is because there's not, you're taking it too technical. You're kind of taking away the passion from it. You're making it like this robot. You're trying to program this. You're trying to make sure this is perfect. If you're not having fun doing it, or if you're not putting out emotions, it definitely shows. And that whole Turtle EP,
oof, yeah,
that from Abraham, he just wrote from the heart for sure.
Really agree with that. Like just he really did write from the heart.
Yeah, let's put on a jam. What do you want to listen to, man? What are we going to listen to from Poyo?
Oh man, I think you should play the song 80-Foot Ladders. I think 80-Foot Ladders is really.
All right, let's listen to 80-Foot Ladder. It is a cover, but it is done by Abraham, and it is off the Turtle EP.
Hate the fact that I tried so hard on you and didn't even try to finish what was started. Started to build, ascending to a foot ladder when I needed to go up 80 feet. I dropped everything that kept me from dropping to the floor myself. I kept the world on my shoulders for you, and now there's nothing to show. I swear this night it won't go any higher, and I think it will hurt if I try. Some say it's easier to start back down, but I'll stay up high and close just to enjoy the view of what we could have had, of what could have been yours, what I've always thought you and me were headed for. I guess I'm always wrong when it comes to things like this, although this time I'm not so disappointed. I kept the world on my shoulders for you. And now there's nothing to show.
So yeah, that was Turtle, the Turtle EP by Abraham A. Hernandez, and you can find that on Bandcamp if you dig that kind of sound. Andrew, I want you to know, man, that you too have had a huge influence, in that scene with a lot of people, and I can't speak for everyone, but I know for myself, you definitely have influenced me a lot, and I appreciate that.
Wow, thank you. That means like the world. Thank you.
Yeah, dude, I know. I'm sorry. I kind of hit you by surprise with that, but we were just talking about some of our heroes, some of your heroes, some of my heroes, and you talk about them, and I don't know if you're aware, but you're amongst that, that ranking to not just myself, but to a lot of people, man. If I talk about Andrew, and they're like, "Oh yeah, Peanut, Tylinda," they have all these nicknames for you, and that's really cool. But just don't forget, dude, you make some awesome stuff, and I appreciate that.
Wow, cool. Thank you.
No problem, dude. So, what do you plan to do in the future? What's in store, music wise, creativity wise?
Oh man. I've been wanting to make some more music videos with my girlfriend and her younger brother, like in the flu. We have like a lot of ideas, but we just haven't executed them because I have like school for another week and I've been pretty busy. But after I finish up school and I'm allowed to focus on like my creative outlets again, like I'd really like to do some music videos. I want to make some beat tapes. I think I'm just gonna like put out some random beat tapes here and there, just because like I make so many beats and I don't know. I like making album covers for them. That's really like my favorite part. So I'll probably be releasing like a slew of beat tapes based on the quarantine, and hopefully write more songs with the flu. That's really what I'm like excited about, building some kind of lore around it, something like that. So
Some
I
kind
have
of
a lot of
lore around the band?
the flu. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Like I don't know. Give us like funky names. You know.
No, I dig it. Just like the
Yeah.
Aquabats.
Yeah, something like that. Like give us all like virus-based names or something.
Oh man,
Yeah, that
and what's crazy is you guys. It's like you predicted it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There will be more music from us coming soon. We've written a few songs that I'm just like, we're trying to figure out what to do with them, like whether or not to put them on a like an EP or just kind of release singles. That's the new question, like I don't know if people even listen to EPs that much anymore.
I do. So put it on there, man.
Yeah, yeah,
All right, I
for
do
sure.
want to ask you an interesting question, and I'm asking you this because I think you have good thoughts, good opinions. So yesterday's episode was about change. I believe that change is a beautiful thing, and it's really important to manage it. What are your thoughts on the concept of change? I know it's an intense one, but for the listeners, Andrew is my Kurt Vonnegut buddy. I mean, this is the guy that got me into Kurt Vonnegut. I did a whole episode on book reviewing, and I felt like it was just like a Kurt Vonnegut fan club. I was trying not to sound like that, but I just couldn't stop. But I mean, this is the guy that's responsible. And so, what are your thoughts on the concept of change? I figured that would be something juicy.
I feel like you can't avoid it, and your best bet is to become adaptable. You know, like it's one of those things that you can't avoid change. Change is a beautiful thing, and it's all about how you utilize it. Because you can see change coming from a mile away sometimes, and you can be prepared for it, or you can panic. But I think if you're prepared and you can embrace change, like you're golden. It's all about adaptability. Oh, what's that saying? An old Italian philosopher said, "He who is opposed to change is destined to perish." You know, So open up that mind of yours, you know?
Don't tell me how to live my life.
You know, as much as like, you know, that was like a joke in the movie, but it's still true. You know, it holds truth
and
if you
girl, I don't like grape. It upsets my stomach. That the listeners out there, that's a reference to Hot Rod. That's a good one. Go watch that movie too. That's a good. After you're done listening to Andrew's music, go listen to Hot Rod. Go watch Hot Rod.
Excellent movie.
Andrew, I appreciate you hanging out with us here, man.
Dude, thank you.
I'm gonna let you go. Thanks for jamming out, dude. We played a lot of songs here. It almost felt like we were at a show in the Valley.
Dude, that's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah, so I would love. I think there's so much to unpack as far as what you've done. This was just the introduction, man, of just who you are. But I would love to have you here on the future or in the future.
Dude, yes, I would love to. I would love to be on the show again.
All right, Andrew. Thanks again, dude, for talking with us. And please, man, stay safe out there.
Thank you.
And
you too.
I'll be seeing you soon, man. After this social distancing is done, I would love to go and see the flu live. Is that going to be happening soon or what? You guys are going to be...
I have no idea. We need to find a backing band because I'm the only one that plays instruments currently.
Oh, well, I know you said you're a bassist, but if you need to, I got you, man.
Dude, the more the merrier.
The more the merrier. All right, Andrew, thanks for hanging out with us here on the podcast. Have a good one, man.
All right, you too. Take care, dude.
I'm a nuisance with loose lips. I say what's on my mind. Don't ban me, cause you see someone who's wasting time. Don't look back, it's time to go out and redefine. I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind. I'm afraid of automation. Don't mind my definition.